Hello YouTube, Damo_23 here, and welcome back to another episode of the Paris 13 Atletico save, which is affectionately known as the non-League 2 legend, the French edition, as we look to do it better than PSG. This year we ended up finishing third, and you are here for the Season 9 scouting and planning a transfer sort of episode as we look at the squad and see, for the ninth time in the save, what we can do to improve it to get us closer to PSG. I will say we've had a fantastic year. We've had 81 points, 50 goal difference after 34 games played, and we still finished third. If you have a look at the table and you go to the league table and you go back to last season, if we finished on 81 points last year, we would have been champions. The year before, champions. There was a year PSG only lost 2 games, and the year Monaco won it, we would have been champions. So, there's a lot of the time where 81 points would be enough to be champions. Do note, PSG, 29 wins, 5 draws, no defeats. They are really, really good, yet they don't know how to win a Champions League, which would help the league out a lot. In terms of the inbox and what we're going to go through here, obviously PSG going undefeated, which is great for them. And just shows how good they are. We've got 14.66 mil. We have got just a loss of only 4 mil this season, and that includes us. At the moment, if I go to the club info and I go to actually club vision and board, we have got in 3 months' time the improvement to the training facilities, improvement to the youth facilities in 2 months. And if you have a look at our facilities, that improvement to the training will take us up to either state-of-the-art or exceptional, one of the two. We're either going to be at the best level or second best level, which puts us very, very close in terms of training to PSG. And we've got exceptional academy and youth recruitment, even though we can't get an intake. Our best intake player was this. I've subsequently sacked my head of youth, who was decent. I've just bought Sebastian Pat, who looks fantastic. So hopefully he produces me some talent. But yeah, we have a very, very good situation. I thought maybe to show you guys that the staff is up to scratch. We're very good, apart from maybe in this department here where we could maybe do a bit better as well. But we're in a good spot. We're trying to get the PSG. If you compare us to PSG and you go to their overview general facilities, there we are. They got state-of-the-art, excellent and exceptional. We're actually beating them in terms of junior coaching and recruitment. We just can't pull that talent across because they all choose to go to Paris at a young age. Why wouldn't you go to PSG? I hear that. And they got state-of-the-art training and youth facilities, which is what we're striving to get. So we're nearly beating him on the front of, we're nearly beating him behind the scenes, but we're not beating him here. We're yet to beat him in an actual league game or in any game. We have drawn against them once, and we fully rotated when they did as well. Now let's talk about the squad quickly, because I do have to get ready and go to work. That is correct. It should be almost illegal between, it's a Wednesday. Friday is the 30th, and then I've got New Year's Day, and we get a Monday public holiday for that. That should just give us the last 3 days off, and we should have all the week and a bit off, but it is what it is. In terms of ourselves, though, let's have a quick talk about the squad. That's how we finish for the year. I'm going to go in and pick what is perceived to be our best 11, which I don't think's that now. I'm going to make some changes to this squad. Give me 1 second. I think Canna's been playing in there. Isaias is going to go into there as well and do that. And I think that's our best squad at the moment without picking too much else. Stupan needs to go in there. Kim will be in goals. And I just want to have a talk about a few different players and a few different things in the system. Firstly, both the keepers. Ariola's had a fantastic year. He's come in, he's won a cup for us. Only conceded 8 and 9 at an average rating of 7.08. He is pretty happy. He's not really happy enough to be influential. He's concerned. That's okay. We'll play him a bit to start the year. The main reason he's concerned is if you have a look at the form, I've played Christian sporadically. He's also played 6 games, only conceded 3 at a better rating, and he's very, very happy. Now, I want to speak about Kim Christian. The main reason we signed him is for the same price we lost Schindler, we got a guy that is a better out-and-out keeper. We also get a guy that at 22, knowing that players seem to develop their best between 25 and 26. I'll show you Makoku in a second, who proves that. I just think there's a potential for this guy to become really good. I said by the end of the year, if we can get either the handling, the positioning, or the communication or command of area up to 15 by some stage, were done really well, all the reflexes. One of them the handling has, which is fantastic. So technically a very, very good keeper. I think this guy's going to be great for us. Do watch out for Kim. We're going to still play Areola, but not make him happy, and hopefully he takes a backup, role. And then if he does, that's sensational because we're going to keep them both as backups, not an actual number one, and rotate them through. And then that second year in Ariola's last year, we'll look to play Kim as the first choice keeper. In terms of the system, we have changed it slightly. We've actually moved to 2 centre-backs in defend. Second half of the year, centre-backs got better average ratings. Inguez has moved in the centre-back, which I think is fantastic. It's his natural spot. He looks good back here. He's developing fantastically. There we go. And Isaias, as a fullback, has played really well. 7, played at centre-back the last couple, centre-back, right-back. And that leads me into a position where I don't know where his best role is. Ball-winning midfielder, obviously fantastic. Fullback, obviously very good and has very good mentals to be a very good defending fullback. But as a centre-back on defend, he is very physical, great mentals, etc. Let me know what you think his best role is. Lastly, Mokoku, that's his development this year. And please note, anticipation's gone from 14 to 15 as well. He's gone from 3-star to 4-star. He has got 14 goals and 14 appearances, 13 starts, 1 off the bench. And in 20 total games, 19 starts, 1 off the bench, he's got 20 goals, which includes 6 goals in the Cup without scoring in the final against a League 2 side. I can't wait to see what this guy does in a full-strength side. We've seen Bakayoko grow at 26. I think Bakayoko and him are going to be here into their 30 plus and be very, very good. He's fantastic. Roviella's had a great year as well. Suselo has finally been called up by Argentina and expecting to get some caps here of late. And then that leaves me in a position where I think Zeno is leaving, Tosin is leaving, Leonard Ford might be staying, Bessett has got a big long-term injury, but he's coming back and will be ready for the World Cup, which is great news. And Stupar's come in and developed the best I've ever seen a kid develop so far this year, which is great. So we're in a good spot there, which kind of says for the first time ever, I don't really need too much. I need either a centre-back or a right-back. That is really good because I don't think Sten's ready to play right-back, but will be here for a while. And then that leads me into this position here. I've got someone that I'm already thinking of. Let me know what you think in the comment section. I know by the time you would have seen this, I would have made a decision. His name is Basari Diallo. Now, I've talked about him a lot on stream. 7.29 in the second division. If you go to the second division there, Bordeaux, second division, season preview, he is in the list as the best centre-back and up there being Bordeaux's best player with Josh Maja. They were predicted to get up as champions. They actually got up on the final day to get automatically promoted. Now, there's 2 things we could do with Diallo. The game thinks he's not good enough. I beg to differ, and knowing how developments work so far, I think first team football could make this guy huge. At 21, at 20/21, anything that's 14 plus will get to 15. I'm a believer in that. And there's a few things that are 13 that I think will get to 15 as well. And firstly, if we just count the 14s and the 15s, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. There's 15 stats that will get to 15 plus. And in my book, that makes you a bit of a world-class player because you're so well-rounded. Diallo fits that bill. We've got a kid that's 20 that has played so well and developed fantastically. When I mean developed fantastically, if you go to his development and his loan report, it's not going to show me now his development. He's been very good. There was you get to see the graph. There we go. As you can see, his graph's just gone up and up and up and up and up, and now starting to taper off here slightly towards the end of the year. He's been fantastic. He's going to go into the team of the year. We've got 2 options. Because Bordeaux have got promoted, we could loan him back. He could be involved in a relegation fight, but get regular first team minutes. And what I'm thinking, he comes in, he goes into this role. Isaias plays right back, and we're going to go Suselo, Inguez, Diallo, and Isaias for full regen back 4 for the first time. And with that, know that there may be the occasional game where Diallo is not fantastic, but know that by him playing minutes, regular minutes in the top flight, he could get a lot of those 14s or 15s within a year or 2 if development works. And then we can always work on that marking to get the 15. Concentration could get up by playing regular minutes. Find him a couple of times and his work rate could get up. I just think there's a world where this guy becomes a physical monster. It was the main reason we signed him. And I think that this is an absolute fraud of a CA and a PA. And I'm leaning that way because Isaias at right back has looked good. Isaias at centre back has looked good. Inguez at right back or centre back has looked good. And that means that then realistically all we need to sign this year is a world-class player in any position we believe. So if a world-class midfielder comes available, Mel Belai goes to the bench. If a world-class DM comes available, because Canna has got interest and hasn't played well, but we've moved to this Regista role that has worked in the smaller games, we can do that. If a world-class left winger comes available, things come interesting because I don't know what I would do with Dosu. I think I would keep him in the team. And then I think only if a 28 to 30-year-old centre-back that is world-class comes available or right-back, then maybe we move Isaias and Diallo goes to the bench. But at the moment, thinking the squad's pretty nailed. And if we're thinking the squad's pretty nailed, we're in a pretty happy position. With that being said, YouTube, for the second part of the episode, scouting, people with interested in signing, it might not even be too many. This might be the first year where actually I don't change it too much because we just got 81 points. We bring Diallo in. We have another good year. And I would be happy if you told me that we're going to get 80 points again next year and finish third again because Monaco and PSG have had the year of their lives, then so be it. I'll take the money. We'll improve the facilities again. We'll put ourselves in a position where we're going to get even more transfer budget because we've kept money in the club. And it might be a very boring season preview, but we'll find out. We come home from work. We start Sim Football Manager. We come back and see that there's 30-something items in the inbox after getting ready to jump on stream. We are currently live. Links down below. Come follow us live. And if you are enjoying the episode, do give it a like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We've had this message pop up before throughout the save, but this time I am hopeful that with our good finances and the money we turn over and the fact that we've got some money in the balance, that even if it was to bankrupt the club, it'll get us back to whatever, or provide, some loans that would needed to be repaid, I think this could be a big move. The plan is for a new stadium to be built by our chairman. Hopefully one day we can do so because, as the famous saying says in Moneyball, you've got to think like the Yankees in here to beat the Yankees out there. We've got to think like PSG in here in order to beat PSG out there. We're yet to beat them, but oi boy, we've got the facilities. And maybe one day we might have the stadium and get all the things in place to become the biggest team in Paris. With that all being said, I'll see you guys in a second for any future scouting. There's been a lot of scouting done so far. Well, YouTube, bombshell, Areola, who we signed for 2 years, first year to be a first choice keeper, next year to fight with Kim for the number 1 shirt, and then obviously in that last year to become the backup and then retire, has decided, well, no, I do not want to see out my 2-year deal on 18k a week. He has been talking about family and friends decide that he intends to retire in 4 days' time. Well, that's a bit of a shock. I was planning to probably play Kim, who has developed quite well with, as the first choice keeper, because I do think there's a lot that's good about Kim, but I was not expecting that. Well, there you go. Do I tell him to reconsider retirement? Maybe, because I would love to use him. I would love to have him as at least as a backup for a year, because I still think he's very good, Areola. I'll have a look at him. He's still got good enough pace and technically brilliant. He's still at a level where he's very good. I'm going to tell him to reconsider the retirement. Hopefully he will not do that. But yeah, there you go. Bow. Big setback. We've been told that, Areola wants to retire, where realistically he was going to stick around to allow me to loan Salvatore out. That's a bit that's a bit of a shock. YouTube, we've made Afonso Areola make a U-turn. He's going to decide to see out his contract with the club. We've convinced him to change his mind. Happy with that. I think he's a great keeper, obviously. I want him to stick around and retire here. He's won us our first French Cup. Important to note as well, we have a bid in for one player, and we just rejected another bid for another player. I'm going to start with the bid that we just rejected. Paul Mana is his name at Bayern. I like the look of him, and he's fantastic, right? I've been looking at maybe a world-class centre mid. Now, we've done it with Bakayoko. We signed him at 24, and he's developed into this leading player. We've done it with Makoku. Signed him at 25. He's developed into this leading player. These guys are current international. Very, very good. Wanted by, Bordeaux, Frankfurt, Celtic, Roma. They've had a few bids in. When you compare this guy to Mel Belai, right? When you compare this guy to Mel Belai, this makes you appreciate how good Mel Belai is. Mel Belai's in blue. By the way, better mentals, better physicals, better going forward, better technically. Same speed. On top of that, when you're having a look at player roles and looking at a midfielder on advanced playmaker on attack, because that's the role we use, same dribbling. Melbourne has better first touch, better passing, better technique, better anticipation, better composure, better decision making, better off the ball, better teamwork, and same vision with better agility. Not to mention he's got 18 balance, same pace, better stamina, even though he loses out natural fitness, Melbourne, but that's fine. And on top of that, I know the flair loses out, but Melbourne has never done before below a 7. I know that we're looking for world-class talent. I don't think we find better in an attacking midfielder role than this. The scary thing is if you go back to this and you make this someone else, you make it Salama. Salama mentally has this guy covered as well, which is scary because Salama has got him with better vision and better technique and better mental and better physical. And you have a look at it and Salama's got 19 flair, which is even better than the 17. He's got the off the ball. He's got the same vision, same passing, better technique, better first touch, same dribbling, better anticipation, which makes you think we've definitely underused this guy this year when you've got two guys that are so even in Melbourne and Salama that fit the role so well. One that is so good at doing everything technically and mentally and physically, and Salama who's got 19 flair and can probably come on and change a game. I know that I have looked at getting a centre mid here, YouTube, and making that maybe is the change in this role here. I don't think that's the case. I've looked at my two advanced playmakers on attack. I'm very happy with them. I have put a bid in for 5 mil up front, 5 mil with clauses for this Argentinian international at Liverpool. Would play the same thing. The only reason why is what we've seen with Bakayoko and Coker. They've hit their potential or grown into potential really well. This guy comes in at 22, who's 2 years younger than Paul Wenner, and at the same level as both of them, and has got the 15s there. There's a world where this guy comes in, dominates, and he probably gets a lot more of these stats that are 13 plus the 15. That's the case. This guy's going to have 17, 18, 19 total stats, 15 plus. Yeah, if Lautaro Vincent wants to talk to me and he comes in and wants to be a first-team player, we're going to be one midfielder too heavy, but we could potentially get a guy that could be world-class along with Bakayoko, who, look, don't get too scared. He got cut from the Belgium international team and now has got interest from Man City and Spurs. Yeah. YouTube, we have our first signing, and there is a realistic possibility this could be the only signing we make this year. Main reason is the squad's in a very good spot. You know, if that was my starting 11 going into round number 1 and was my starting 11 for the year, that is a team minus Diallo coming in at centre-back, who I think could be pretty good, right? Who is League 2 centre-back of the year, by the way, and got in the team of the year for League 2. Diallo is the only addition to the squad. We've already had a look where Melbourne was maybe an area where we might look at improving, and you just see that Melbourne and Salama are fantastic. The bench itself needs no introduction. The only thing that we need to look at signing is a backup left-back, and that's because Longello's been complaining and wants to leave. With that being said, I know he's fantastic and all, and he's been here for a little bit, but he's had his injury issues, and, you know, I think it's time to ship him off. We've accepted a couple 3.5 mil bids, and you're thinking, well, you need a backup left back. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we get in a 35-year-old Ferland Mendy from Real Madrid. That is correct. A year after we signed Kingsley Coman on a free from Real Madrid, we've gone down the route again. Coman has not been fantastic because he physically just waned, but he did talk Ferland Mendy into getting the deal done. More importantly, with the scout report, Ferland Mendy's still very good and very consistent, and he's also very good for continental football. I just think as this guy, being who he is, and training Sosello, who's 18, is fantastic. In the bigger games, you play Ferland Mendy because he's Ferland Mendy. And then in the smaller games, you leave it. We'll also say that even though he's a veteran fullback at 35, we've got a 1-year deal with an optional extension if he plays 25 games this season. Unlike Coman, who has got no physicals, this guy does. I think there's a world where this guy's probably here next year too. It gives me another year of seeing what we do. You know, if we need to buy a left-back that's maybe a bit younger as a backup, because obviously Sosello is going to be very good. But we get in a French left-back. We sell on our other left-back for 3.5 mil eventually when he decides which club he goes to. But that is a superb signing. Ferland Mendy on a free as a regular starter, we'll say that. He didn't want to be anything less than that. He wanted an important player. I tried to talk him down. He was on 100 and what K a week? He's on 27 with me. He's currently on 125. So he just wants to move to France to still be relevant. He is very relevant. He's still mentally fantastic. Physically well-rounded at 35 years of age. As the backup left back / the starting left back in bigger games, I think that he's definitely someone in the Champions League that's going to play a lot of minutes. In the league play when needed, I think he's fantastic, and I'm happy to say Ferland Mendy of Real Madrid is on his way as a left back for next year, either in a backup or as a starter. YouTube, bit of transfer negotiations that have gone well. We've had some interest in Ibrahimi Diop. I'm trying to find funds because there's a midfielder at Man City, which I'm going to show you in a second, that I really want. He's Australian. I just have no money, but he's really interested in coming to me. Ibrahimi Diop, great player. When we signed him for 17k from Senegal, but unfortunately doesn't really have the physicals to ever play for me. And out of the midfielders we have Milos, who's a French wonder kid coming through. We've got Salama, we've got Ravella, we've got Melbalai. You get in the picture, we've got Canna. This guy's never playing, went to forward. Yuri, this guy's down the pecking order fair way. Now, in saying that though, I was intending on loaning him out, seeing if he developed, because he has some interest and he has a little bit of potential. But Spurs, Wolves, and Benfica and Porto all want him, which are some big clubs. They came in with like a 4 mil bid, we've negotiated, and we've actually got them to say yes to something I'm very happy with. 5 mil up front, so that's 5 mil into the kitty, we get probably about 4 of it. 3 mil over 3 different years, so a mil into the transfer kitty every single year, which is great. We also then get 1.5 mil if he ever plays for Senegal. It's Senegal, he's 19, he moves to the Premier League for Wolves, who are currently 11th in the Prem this season. Happy with that. More importantly, 50% of whatever he sells on for. He's going to go to the Premier League, and if he develops and plays for Senegal at all, he's going to be worth 5 to 10 mil at a minimum. We sold the Shane Sanif one, who never went, and by the way, he's leaving on a free, I do think. We sold him to Watford. We might even check on him a little bit later stream. But yeah, we sold that free on for 4.8 mil, which means we would have made 7 mil on him, which was ridiculous. I think there's a way where we sell this clause on in 2 years' time for 5 mil, 6 mil, or he goes for big money and we profit huge. So with that being said, accept it. There we go. You guys will know what happened with Papa Dieng last year. He then got a bidding war. Spurs are interested. Spurs could go crazy and offer me 10, 12, 15 mil up front, and that would be huge. You guys might be thinking, who is this centre mid that you're thinking of at Manchester City? Well, if you go to Man City, he's been not playing for him, which makes no sense. It does when you see that they've got Rodri and Frankie de Jong in the middle. But Matt, Australian, international, 53 caps, come from Melbourne City, Sporting for 1.7 mil. Rejected me down here, by the way. I tried hardest, didn't want to come. And then City bought him for 32. 10 games, 2 games, not played him. He is world class. Like, this is the thing. Unless we're signing people like this, I'm not making a signing. They want 28 to 34 mil. Every time I try to negotiate with a heap of clause, they want 44 plus. I can't afford it. If we make some sales, if a couple people leave, he's currently had a couple bids from Stoke, of all clubs, because they're going up from the Prem. If things go our way, I will blow the budget for him because I think he'll move me from being that, oh, I'm a very good club, top 4, to elite, and that would be superb. Last thing as well, we've actually seen the French League drop in coefficient, which is not good. Coefficient. There we are. Don't know if that's going to come up there. There we are. France slipping coefficients. Because PSG have been lacking every time they go and play in the Champions League, they keep getting knocked out in the round of 16, which is not good for us. We've actually slipped down behind Germany in the coefficient. So instead of getting 4 teams straight into the group stage, we now go 3 teams, and a 4th team goes into qualifying. Which does mean that we're going to be looking to finish top 3 from here and out for the major part of the save. Saying that though, hopefully, whenever in that position, it's something to keep an eye out. Do know the board is just looking for us to make the Europa League next year. For the first time in a long time, they want us to work within the budget because they want to look to build this new stadium. So we need to be slightly careful what's going on there. But at the same stage, hopefully make some sales, see what we can do, make some profit, and then maybe blow the whole budget on the defensive midfielder. We're going to try. Let's see what happens. YouTube, we have got a offer in for Yesba. Look, I will say this is not someone I wanted to sell. He is a very good footballer. He's only 21. He has developed very well. He's actually having a very good World Cup for Sweden off the bench. Just look, he isn't going to be world class, but he's someone that you love to have around the football club because if there's ever an injury or anything like that, we can, play him. He's very good at centre back. He's very good at defensive mid. If we ever needed a centre mid that's a little bit more defensively minded, he can do it. He's one of those. So he's not particularly someone that I'm like, want to sell. However, he has been unhappy and he has been wanting someone to reach his evaluation of himself. Wants to leave to a much stronger squad, and we put in a value of 10 mil. No one's come close to it at all, and then we've had an offer come in from Real San Sebastian, which is Real Sociedad. He's interested in going there because it means he gets to play in the Spanish league, and this is the issue playing in France. You're in the worst top tier league, right? So players will always look to go to England, Spain, even Germany over yourself. He wants to go, and the money's good. We get 10 mil up front for him. We get 6 mil over 2 years, so we get 3 mil next year and 3 mil the year after. And more importantly, we also get 50% of whatever he sells on for next. And I tell you what, at 21, he goes to Spain, he plays regularly, he will develop into quite a player. There is someone here that we could definitely look and sell on for quite a number of profit. We bought him for 1.8 mil. I would love him to be eligible here, but he's not. If he was eligible here, I will tell you right now, this is not someone that we're going to probably sell. But in saying that, let's go in. Let's pick him up. Let's go and pick him up. Let's go do what we need to do. And let's turn that off. Sorry, I was checking my phone. Man City just scored as I started the episode. Watching the game while Man City's played. Cancelo and Walker both benched. Fun when they're in your fantasy. But let's go and accept this bid. And yeah, you might be thinking, Damien, you're going to go for Matt? No, I'm not, because somehow the world-class midfielder who was extremely interested in us and had all these big teams interested in himself, somehow nearly promoted Stoke for him enough money to put him as their key player, which is actually good for him because he will play, but he should have a relegation release fee. 40 mil. Somehow, if I have that money, I'll look to pick him up. It does mean that, well, who are you going to sign at defensive mid if you're going to go for anyone? Bruno Gomes. Yes, that's correct. Now, Bruno, big old Bruno, is world class. Now, is he a player that, that we need? Probably not. Does he want a lot of money? Yeah, he wants to be the first player at the club over 100k. But that's the times and how things move about, etc. Just checking who got the assist here. Apparently, he's not going to tell me. There we go. Maybe it was no assist. But then Bruno is a player that, does bring up the profile of the football club. He's someone that, if you have a look at him, is very consistent. You can play him in big games. There is a world where we play him at centre mid as the advanced playmaker because he loves getting forward, which is great and all. Or we can play him in the midfield as a box-to-box midfielder, which you might be thinking, Damien, why is that important? I've made a slight change to the 4-for-3, and in these bigger games this year against PSGs and co, who usually pump me in the Champions League, against the bigger sides, we're going to go into this bit more wing play, bit more defensively, bit more low block 4-3-3, and Bruno would play in the box-to-box if we were to sign him. But I'm thinking deep line playmaker and support, only issue, he loves getting forward, but this is in games that we should dominate so we can afford another midfielder to bob on here as well. Look, let's hope we pick him up. We've only got the bid in. Usually clubs then fly in once you put a bid in. But Juve, Barca and Sevilla all want him. And if they all want him, he's good enough to come to Paris 13 Atletico. So hopefully next time we see each other, we get a little bit of Bruno Gomes at 32 and get a world-class midfielder in for the next couple of years. As always on Football Manager, when you bid for players, the AI will bid for them too. He got to the end of his trial, did Bruno, so we had him for a week. We're the only team interested with actual physically giving him a contract for a week. Barcelona then decided, nah, we'll bid for him. He's gone to Barca. What could have been with the players we have signed or put in contract offers, etc. first? Cadley at Liverpool, Bruno here, extra 2.5 million in revenue. Instead, he's gone to Barca. Is he going to make Barca's team? Don't know if he makes that midfield. Like, if we go to the Spanish and season preview, does he make Barca's midfield? They say no. They could have started for us and been something special. Oh well, back to the drawing board of finding world-class talent that wants to join us. Today we have been dreading YouTube, not the Trophy D Champions, because the first time we've been in it, that's actually next episode. I'm going to film that as next episode, not part of this transfer special. We haven't actually really moved for anyone. Bit of a recap here before we talk about the obvious one there. Ferland Mendy, you guys have seen. You've seen me obviously sold Yesba, Diop. The only other one you haven't seen is Tossin did leave 6.5. I don't think he's good enough. Game thinks he's okay, maybe decent, maybe good. I look at him and go, look, I wanted to keep him around, but he wanted to be here on a star player and a big amount of money. Could have kept him, decided against it, maybe might regret selling that. There was obviously the intention of selling him was because I wanted to get as much money in the club to bring in the centre defensive mid. That's no longer viable, so probably sold him maybe prematurely. But, at the end of the day, where we might have lost a little bit of money on him, like we did lose a touch. He 6.5, bought him for 9, expecting big things, he never developed. It's the sort of thing that if you look at our finances, for the first time we've got basically 60 mil in the club, 27 mil transfer budget, 100k to spend. If the right midfielder comes available, we definitely will do it. Second thing I will mention before we talk about the day that we dread, Canna's got a new deal, got a transfer bid from Villa for like 5 mil. I rejected. He wanted to go to Villa because he wanted 78k a week. He was only on 63. Still wants to be an important player. Tied him down. He does want to play as a deep line playmaker on support. Happy to do that because in games that we were dominant, that fits kind of what we're doing in the 4-3-3. But there is a potential for me to actually sign in someone better than him. And I think that's the position I'm going to target because pre-season's been really good. As you can see from here, we've had a pretty good pre-season, all been in the 4-3-3, all playing in this system here. Not this system, this system. I will talk about what this system is next episode. So if you want to see a 4-3-3 breakdown, next episode there. But let's talk about the day that we have dreaded. And that is Bakayoko getting a bid from Man City. He's had some interest. He is arguably one of the best players in the league. He's wanted by Monaco, which we wouldn't sell to. Benfica, he wouldn't go to. The only clubs I could see him actually wanting to go to, Man United, Manchester City, maybe Napoli. Now, if you look at the coach report, leading player, very, very good for us as well. Sometimes you see him even get to star player, depending on the form. If you have a look at the season preview, he doesn't get into the team of the 11 because they don't play with wingers. If they did, he would be there because he's the third best player in the league, according to the Game on Reputation. Have a look at here. He's our best player. Now, Man City are offering a bid here of 24 mil up front, plus 10 mil, which is 35 mil. I'm not interested in selling. He, I think, wants to leave because they've got a much stronger squad. I can't really deny that. But at the same stage, I don't want to sell him. He's under contract till 2034, so we've got 4 years. I think that if there's ever a time where we stall, then reject and make him unhappy and try to get through this month with him having 4 years on his deal, this is the time because I can still see a world that if he's upset in 12 months with 3 years, we're still going to get 35 plus as well. Lastly, how much would I sell him for? Player this good, in this good a form, to then buy another one that we would replace him with. Look, for me, I would be needing something 65 mil upfront plus installments, plus some sell-on stuff. I'd be looking at 60, 65 mil, and then on top, probably equivalent to 70 or 80, 90 or 60, 65 plus 50%, 30%, whatever his next sell-on is. So we are going to stall and reject. With that being said, in terms of this episode, not much has happened. I am looking at a couple of midfielders. The only time I'm going to be back is either with a sale, a transfer, or to recap kind of everything that's gone on sort of thing, is it's going to mix in with the next episode, and then just let you guys know, look, I didn't actually really sign anybody, and as I said before, and I'll say it again, the team, if you have a look at it, apart from maybe having one extra centre-back, so we have 4 centre-backs at the football club, I'm happy, and if there was an injury at centre-back, Yuri can play centre-back or centre defensive mid, so can Canna. We have the options. We will be okay. And if the squad stayed the same, I still think we'll be in a really good position. Different day YouTube. I'm actually leaving to go away for New Year's as of the day I'm filming this. It's the 30th, which is a Friday. With that being said, by the time this episode finishes, it'll be the new year. So Happy New Year. I'm sure this video will come out probably 2 weeks into Jan. Anyhow, firstly, Bakayoko hands in a transfer request. I've rejected a bid from City. We then got a 40 mil bid from Monaco, and well, I'm not selling. It's as simple as that. City haven't come back in yet. I expect them to come back in on deadline day, especially. Like I said, 60, 70 mil, that's about where I'll be pricing him at if I was to sell. Now, with that being said, I have looked, and I don't want to give away how we've started in the league because that's kind of like next episode we play the Trophy of the Champions. I've already played that. I don't want to give you spoilers there. We do have a new built 4-3-3, which we mentioned in that episode, which is in this one. It's for big games. And then the episode after, I'll recap all the results, and obviously Champions League we'll have a look forward to. But in terms of the team, I've been playing Bakayoko because I'm going to play Bessett in a week game against Lorient, who's been developing. I still think that if he was to leave, I need a contingency plan. Secondly, I've been looking for a Canna replacement, because I feel like that's the area. He's done what Collie does. You think about maybe he could go. You think about maybe replace until Makoko obviously came around because that was a no-brainer. He started really well. Once he got a new deal, wants to pay deeper line playmaking support. From what I've seen, first 2 league games, it's a very good role for him because he actually gets involved. So I've made a bid for a younger Frenchman, and this is what I think I'm going to do. I haven't had a good intake in a while. I've got 27 mil to spend. I know the plan has been, well, actually, let's go buy a world-class talent to bring in. I'm now going to change my tune to, I've looked, it's the 22nd of August, I haven't found, maybe we go and spend not 27 mil, but maybe 5, 10 mil on 2 or 3 really good prospects that are French, that are 18 or younger, that can come in, become homegrown for the Champions League in 3 years and develop into first-team footballers. Maxine is the one in Chevalier. And look, just physically a god. Physically a god. Determination and teamwork as well. In the new look 4-3-3, the big game one, we played wingers on attack. This guy would be a winger on attack every day with the pace. Could train, will train him on the left-hand side as well. So there could be a future with him on the left and Bessett on the right. But if you look at him, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 stats of 15 plus. On top of that, there's a couple of 14s and 13s. For what you want him to do, he's perfect. You know, if you want him to be a winger, outrageously good. You want him to be an inverted winger on attack. He's got a decent left foot, great right foot. He could do that off the left. There's a couple stats that probably need to be worked on there because he's not as good, but as someone that you just got to put in, even at 18, last 15 minutes to run at people with potential, I think he's fantastic. In terms of the transfer bid as well, if we have a look back at it, it is a little bit of money. It's 5 mil up front. It is what it is. 4.5 mil over 3 years. It's only 1.5. I'm happy with that. If he plays 50 games, I'm 2.5 mil. I don't see that happening for probably about 3 years. And then lastly, they want an international appearance. And like I said with Milos Stupa, if the game's saying international appearance for France, probably means they've got very good potential. I'm happy to do this. 5% or whatever they want as well. Let's go into the transfer negotiation. And I'm now looking at another one. He wants to be a fringe player. I'm happy with that. 20k a week, 4-year deal. Happy with all that. Just the wage, buddy. Jesus Christ, lad. Get that down to 40. 22. Just can't fathom that he wants that much money. How about I do this and I'll give you that of 33. No, I didn't want that. All right. Look, get that down to 41 and we'll do a deal. Done. All right, look, it is a little bit of money. We do have plenty of wage budget. We're actually in a position where we've actually got money in the football club, and if you look at the finances, we're in a very healthy position, so that's something that we'll definitely do. There might be another part with me in this setting. If not, I'll see you guys in the new year to finish off this episode. Obviously, this has been our most in-depth scout. If you ever want to see that, YouTube links, YouTube viewers, links down below to our Twitch if you don't already follow. And as much as we haven't found anyone that's world class to come in and really improve the squad, I'm very happy with this squad. We've started really well in the league without spoiling, and the team looks very, very, very solid. Hopefully a couple of young Frenchmen that come into this team would very much help our progression and keep us with a good base moving forward, and more importantly, some talent that can be registered into the Champions League that will become homegrown in a few years' time. And it doesn't want to end. And now. Welcome back, YouTube. Last part of episode number 75. I've come back from my trip. I've got a bit of a sore throat, so I do apologise. If I sound off, I have got a really bad sore throat. In terms of it, this episode, we're out on deadline day. I've had a bit of a scout, like I mentioned. We're going to maybe go after a few younger kids. There's a couple that's come up on the list, but nothing of note. We've still got hold of Bakayoko, and Man City haven't made a secondary bid as well. Just going to show a couple of the kids I'm going for, but they don't want to come to me just yet, which makes no sense. But yeah, Bryce Ferreri, who got relegated with Nance, not playing minutes for him, nothing. I know we just signed a right winger as one of the youngsters to train on the left. This guy actually trained to play right back. As you can see, he can decently do it. Very, very good physicals, technicals, and mentors for a 15-year-old. Would have signed him, put him straight into the 19s for a couple of years. Had a bit accepted, but didn't want to talk to me. Other ones at Angers. Don't know if I can remember if I've showed you guys or not. But if he's starting, he is. This guy here's worth 18.5 to 22 mil, has no interest. Game doesn't really think he's that good of potential, but we're playing Diallo, he's doing well. This kid at 17 is fantastic. Already got tackling and headering. Already physically well-rounded and mentally well-rounded. Good determination, positioning, and teamwork. I think we're going to make a play for him at some point throughout this save as well. With that being said, nothing else really crazy to really write home about as well. The squad has still got some interest there from Bakayoko, still got interest from Man City. We haven't received a bid on deadline day, but I am going to add the episode here because I will not be selling for nothing as well. Especially with the Champions League draw that we got out, which is 2 episodes away, which I've already filmed that part. In terms of signings, we're just going to go through them here nice and quick and easy as well. Only 2 to write home about. Ferland Mendy on a free, is going to be a very good backup. Love the look of him. Apparently developing, makes no real sense, but I see that a lot happen on FM. And then obviously when we started maybe looking for young kids, we obviously found Maxine, who is looking fantastic, is going to play, is going to be good, and just turned 19, but should become Paris 13 athletically homegrown, which is fantastic. And we picked him up from FC Nantes, who have the other young kid there that we're after as well. Obviously on the outs, our biggest sales that we've ever gotten to save, Diop out past Dieng from last year, and then Yesba obviously as well, who still looks pretty good. I don't think he's played yet a game for Real San Sebastian, but he will eventually, and we'll keep an eye out on him as well. Same with Tossin, if he ever gets a big move, we'll maybe regret selling, but I don't think we did. Lastly, what that means is that season preview, we'll recap obviously any of the results that you might have just seen on the screen. We are predicting to finish 6th. They are predicting us to play the 4-3-3, which we probably will for most part. Particularly in that lineup there, they got it mostly correct. Only thing I will say is Isaias will play at right back. Isaias and Ingwe, will switch. Can I actually move? We'll drop Salama and play Diallo, who has started really well and is acting like a new signing as well, has this guy so far, and starting to slowly develop, which makes a mockery of the star ratings this year. Anyhow, that's the end of the episode. Enjoy it, like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, do what you need. I know you guys really do like the scouting and more in-depth videos. Unfortunately, not really too many sales, but I think the goal is to keep as much money in the bank as possible, spend on maybe a few youngsters to, get some people really come through the squad that are homegrown, because our youth facilities haven't done the thing just yet, even though we've got good facilities, and get ourselves into a position where we can upgrade everything, hoard some money, get some big transfer budgets, and go on a real big spend in the coming years. Thank you, and goodbye.